From Polk Center River calls up Senate Resolution 121. The chair recognizes the senator from Johnson, Senator Bolkcom, for opening remarks on Senate Resolution 121.
Well, thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen of the Senate, good afternoon. Mr. President, we saved the best of our Senate Democratic retirements for last. Amanda Ragan brings an unvarnished, clear-eyed view to all things. She has cut through the BS at the speed of light, and she doesn't miss much. At the heart of Amanda's career and political work in the Iowa Senate has been the welfare of working people and people that need a helping hand. She has stood up for people across Iowa that struggle with the basics in life. Her professional career as a director of the Community Kitchen of North Iowa has a simple mission: getting food to people in need. She provided essential life-saving food, support, and kindness to thousands in her community in need. Amanda worked to address hunger, addiction, mental health challenges without judgment and with love. She brought her concern for people's welfare to her work leading our Senate Health and Human Services efforts. She understood the challenges of being a single mom with children, because for a time she was one. It paved the way for the first time to health insurance. Sorry about that. She has been a strong advocate for kids, moms, people without health insurance, people with mental health issues and disabilities, moms needing quality child care, working people, and women. Her life experiences have shaped her and our Senate Democrats' human service priorities. She helped create the current regional mental health system, led the effort to expand health care to thousands of Iowans over the years, and fought time and time again to protect the rights of women to control their own bodies. The Affordable Care Act offered states the opportunity to develop coverage for millions of uninsured Americans. And in 2013, after weeks of negotiations with Republicans and Democrats, Iowa approved the expansion of Medicaid on a bipartisan vote in the Iowa legislature. At the time, Amanda had a strong relationship with the House Speaker, Speaker Linda Upmeyer from Clear Lake. Amanda worked for weeks behind the scenes with Representative Upmeyer to lay the groundwork for the passage of this bipartisan deal. Her relationship with Representative Upmeyer was a key part to our success here. This legislation is one of the most important bipartisan agreements and improvements to help working people since the inception of Medicaid in 1965. It paved the way for the first time to health insurance for working single adults and childless couples living in poverty. It brings more than $1 billion today in federal dollars to Iowa to support our health care system. That money pays for the care provided by thousands of Iowa health care workers in all 99 counties. Senator Ragan was also a strong advocate for smoke-free workplaces. For people that weren't around, when we decided in 2008 to create smoke-free workplaces, it was really a close vote. I mean, it passed by like one vote in each chamber. It was a time when Democrats were in charge, and it was a priority for us, but every vote mattered at that point, and Amanda was an important supporter of that effort. Senator Ragan was also a strong, outspoken opponent of the state's failed rollout of Medicaid privatization. She has served on the Legislative Health Oversight Committee since its inception and has consistently raised important questions about the lack of legislative oversight and problems created by privatization. An issue that is as relevant today as it was the day privatization began. Amanda's roots are in agriculture. She trapped gophers. Trapped gophers. When the fur people come here, it's always, let's go down and see what they've trapped. She's been a strong supporter of Iowa agriculture, Iowa electric co-ops, and ethanol. Amanda has been a supporter of many progressive causes. She's been a leader in standing up for women's reproductive freedom and LGBT rights. She has served during the Democrats' once every 40 years trifecta. She served 6 years in a 26-24 Iowa Senate when Dems were in charge. Amanda has great political instincts. She can read a room and the political landscape like a pro. She also has a good read on people. Amanda could not do this work without her partner, Jim Ragan, who's here this afternoon, and the support of her children, Edie and Charlie, and their families. Jim Ragan has been the rock in her life. Amanda and Jim, as you all know, are tireless campaigners and North Iowa boosters. They together have made it possible for Amanda to serve North Iowa interests and her constituents over all of these years. They've been an amazing team. Jim Ragan is a saint who likes to drink beer, I'm told. At campaign time, he works as hard as any senator in this room to help Amanda get reelected. On a personal note, Amanda, I missed a paragraph, I can't miss anything. Nobody's going to beat Amanda Ragan. I think she's proven that. If her name appears on the ballot, she beat Republicans over and over again. She works harder and smarter than anyone I've ever met on the campaign trail. Now, on a personal note, Amanda and I have been early birds at the Capitol. We would arrive between 6 and 6:30 every morning. I should parenthetically say, when we had more work to do, we would arrive earlier. She continues to arrive early, and I not so much. But we spent a lot of time here in the morning catching up on what's going on and visiting over these last 20 years. We've actually been sat next to each other for like the entire time we've been here in the Senate. We were down there, and then we had to have like a conference to say, well, it's time to move up. Can we move up together? And here we are. Amanda has served on our leadership team for her entire time in the Senate. She's done a great job of looking out for every member of our caucus. She understands the politics behind virtually every issue. She's been a team player over a very long time. She's been, you may know this, one of our best fundraisers, helping elect Senate Democrats around the state. Her decision not to run was not an easy one. And Amanda, we are all looking forward to seeing what is next for you and your family and Jim. Mr. President, I support this resolution, and thank you.
Is there further discussion on Senate Resolution 121? Chair recognizes Senator from Polk, Senator Celsi.
Thank you, Mr. President. I stand in support of SR 121. As a newbie senator, I was having a really bad day one day. We had just taken a really hard vote that felt like a punch in the gut, and I was really upset. And I went and sat on the back bench by Amanda. And she noticed my distress, and she turned around and said to me, "Here's a lesson for you. What you do here in this room is not your job. Your job is making your constituents' lives easier." And it kind of bounced off me that day because I was having a bad day. But as I got to thinking about it, that's exactly what our jobs are. To really work with our constituents in our district, and that's what Amanda does. She sees needs in her community, and she rises to meet those needs, and I think that's what we're supposed to be doing, and I think that's fantastic, and why she's such a great senator and such a great person. She's someone you can trust to tell you the truth, and then she'll tell you the story behind why it matters, because she's been around here for a little while, so she knows all that stuff. So it's just invaluable to have her in our caucus, and I can't imagine it without her. I know we're not supposed to talk about appearance, but Amanda has the most beautiful blue eyes I think I've ever seen. I'm going to miss you, Amanda. Thank you.
Chair recognizes the Senator from Johnson, Senator Wahls.
Well, thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen of the Senate, Amanda, I rise in strong support of Senate Resolution 121. I had the pleasure of meeting Amanda in 2011 when Dean and Gary invited me up to Mason City to talk about marriage equality and how much it meant to our state. And when it was my first time I'd ever been to Mason City, and on the drive up, I remember feeling like I was a long way away from Iowa City. And when I got to Mason City, I certainly knew that was the case. And to have someone who was willing to not just help invite me up to be there, but to make me feel welcome, when I was still very new to this whole advocacy thing, was just tremendously appreciated. And I was so proud to come back to door knock for you in 2018 with JD and the Ben and Jerry from Ben and Jerry's. And while we were door knocking, I remember just being totally blown away by the fact that, like, basically every other door I knocked, oh, Amanda Ragan, sure, I know Amanda Ragan, of course I'll vote for her. And it was just like everybody in this community knows who you are, and your work as a legislator, your work with your soup kitchen had touched so many lives. And I remember when we got to do that renewable energy tour in the summer of 2019, my favorite photo is the one, we're not even looking at the camera, it's back of you, back of me, we're wearing the hard hats, and there's like 2 feet of difference between the top of your helmet and the top of my helmet. But I've been incredibly grateful for your support as whip for me as a new young leader. I tremendously have appreciated your counsel, even in times where we've seen things differently. You've always given it to me straight. And that is something that is incredibly valuable and something for which I'm deeply, deeply grateful. So as much as I wish we were going to get you for 4 more years, I cannot wait for you and Jim to celebrate, to enjoy more time together. Jim told me that he made the drive down today, and well, yeah, maybe not, we'll see, but to at least have fewer drives down the windy I-35 down to Des Moines. And we're going to miss you a lot, but we wish you our very best. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Senator from Dubuque, Senator Jochum.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good afternoon, Senators, and good afternoon, Amanda and Jim, Eleanor, Charlie. So good you could all join us today. I think your fan club is here in full force. Anyway, I rise in reluctant support of this resolution. Amanda's been my roommate for several years now, and I could not admire or respect anyone more. The words that I would probably use to describe Amanda is a resilient doer. I think that when the chips have been down, and they've been down in all of our lives at one time or another, that resilient doer picks up those pieces and keeps on moving, does not let it get them down. And Amanda did that over and over again as a single mother, balancing work, motherhood, and returning to the classroom to earn her college degree. I know how hard that is because I did the same thing, and it is not an easy journey to try and balance all of those and be successful at it. But Amanda was also a champion and will continue to be, I'm sure, for the rest of her life. And that is a champion for those many, many Iowans who too often are forgotten. I know that many of us did church services yesterday, as I did. And the one thing that was in the homily is, we all have free will. We are free to make this world better or not. And the pain that we see in our world today, the darkness, was created by us because we have free will. But Amanda's one of those resilient doers who would never, ever quit fighting for those who need us most. Jim, Eleanor, Charlie, I wish you all the best, and I want to close with, believe it or not, a Walt Disney quote. Because although Amanda has not been very vocal on the floor of the Senate all the time, she's always worked behind the scenes. Many of you don't know that, but worked behind the scenes to make things happen. And that quote goes like this: the way you get started is to quit talking and begin doing. Amanda, that is you. Thank you for being my friend, and all my best on your next leg of your journey.
Chair recognizes the senator from Lynn, Senator Mathis.
I stand in support of SR 121, honoring Senator Amanda Ragan. Well, okay, I think I just won't look at you. The word is unselfish, and that word describes Senator Amanda Ragan. You know, door knocking in Mason City, Meredith is sitting back here, and she was Amanda's campaign manager, and Amanda was always very nervous. She always made sure that there were enough people walking out there for you, and that there were things that were just so, enough fundraisers and all of that, so you two worked so well together. But I came up to Mason City once to door knock for you, and a couple of times in Green, but Mason City, and I was given this walk list, and it didn't have all Democrats on it. It had Democrats and no party, and I thought, okay, I got to be ready for this when we go to the door and see what happens. And every single door, I would say, I'd like to talk to you about Senator Amanda Ragan. Oh, Amanda Ragan, kind of just exactly what you said, Zach. Oh, Amanda Ragan. And I'd go inside, and you shouldn't really go inside, but I did, because they would bring me in and lemonade and cookies, and by the time I was done with that walk, I was so full I barely made it back to the headquarters because everybody wanted to talk about Amanda Ragan. There was even a woman who had cut articles about Amanda Ragan. She had cut articles out of the newspaper and had them up in her house. Kind of got to watch that woman, I think. But anyway, it was remarkable. So the word unselfish, she is also the person who clips the newspaper articles and sends them to her constituents and says, saw you in the newspaper and congratulations on whatever it might be. And she also sends birthday cards too, which at one point I asked her, why are you doing that? She said, just because. I'm just going to do it. It is good for everybody. So she cares. She's unselfish. Her soup kitchen, early in the morning, managing from here sometimes. When we get here early, she'd get this phone call, and I would think, who is calling her at 6:30 in the morning? It has to be Jim. It wasn't Jim. It was your soup kitchen. Either somebody hadn't shown up for work, or there were some issues with the food, or there were issues with clients or people you were servicing through that soup kitchen. You know everyone by name. Even when COVID struck, you were worried about who was going to get COVID and, if people would have enough food and all of that. So very, very unselfish. I door knocked for you in Green as well, and everybody wanted to talk about you in Green too. And I stopped by the Catholic Church. And I told the priest about Amanda's work with the poor, and he was very impressed. I don't know if he voted for you, but he was very impressed. And then I was also knocking with Jim that day, and I kind of lost track of him. And Jim, poor Jim, had had knee surgery, and he was still out, knocking for Amanda. And I kind of lost track of him, and then all of a sudden, I was at a door, and there was kind of a feisty person that I was talking with. She was kind of off topic, and so was I. And I heard Jim's booming voice across the street. And he was just talking to somebody. I thought, well, what's going on over there? Jim was decked out with his military cap on, and he was talking to someone who was in another branch of the military, and they were backslapping, and they were doing... The other guy was a Republican, and I'm sure that Jim Ragan got a vote for you. I am sure of it. It was pretty good. Then your policy. You have done so much for so many people unselfishly, and I think it's been cited already today that one of the biggest accomplishments, you are the reason that we have expanded Medicaid. All of those weeks, as Senator Bolkcom was talking about working on this, you quietly and strategically worked to make that happen for more than 150 people, 50,000 people, I should say. And I won't say how you did it, but that's just the magic of Amanda Ragan. The bills that you authored and helped pass would fill a book. You are always sharing ideas and information, and you're always right. So making sure that everyone in the caucus is able to co-author, and it's very unselfish. We will really miss you so very much. Thank you.
Chair recognizes the senator from Mills, Senator Costello.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senator Ragan, I've enjoyed working with you. We've been on the Humans Resource Committee and the Budget Committee together since I've been here. I've always found you to be a very reasonable and pleasant person, which is nice to be able to work with someone like that. You know, there's probably not anyone here that knows more about the humans world than you do, and I appreciate that we could talk about things that maybe other people didn't understand. And you know, you're being able to talk with me intelligently and understand what we're talking about, and understand when we couldn't do everything we wanted to do with the budget, and said, well, you know, we have to try and work and get the best budget we can. So I've always appreciated that, and I've appreciated the fact that you don't get up and have a lot of over-the-top rhetoric. So wasting time, in my opinion. Sometimes we do that, and so you're really. I appreciate working with you, and I'm going to miss working with you. I wish you the best in what you do now, and thanks for being who you are.
Chair recognizes the senator from Hardin, Senator Sweeney.
Thank you, Mr. President. I stand in support of Senate Resolution 121. Senator Ragan, I always enjoyed doing town halls and forums with you. Of course, it was up in Butler County, but it was, yes, and it was one that was just a nonpartisan comment, and this was a couple of years ago, and it was just really pointed and nasty. And you looked up at me and you said in just a very dry tone, you said, well, that was interesting. And so it was really good, and I always appreciate your support for agriculture, of course, and I liked our conversations too when we had time to be able just to kind of rehash anything that we had heard at any of our forums or any of the other endeavors that we have encountered together. So congratulations on your retirement, and I hope I get to see you up in Mason. Thank you.
Chair recognizes the senator from Woodbury, Senator Smith.
Thank you, Mr. President. I, too, rise in support of Senate Resolution 121. And just to frame my remarks, I knew there would be just so many nice things said about Senator Ragan today. So I decided to do an elementary school thing and take your name and generate some words. So, authentic. You are truly authentic. You don't put on any airs, and you are who you are. Motherly. I've had those talks too. I think we all have had those talks, and Amanda has calmed us down. Aptitude. You're really sharp, and you really are helpful to new senators like myself. See if I spell right. You know what? Normal. That's like a big deal around here. You're normal, and I like that. You're dedicated. You're here early. First one here. I'm not a member of the early morning club or really the late night club either, but you're here in the morning and you're here when I leave at night, so very dedicated. Achievement. You know, you've achieved what others have not. That's pretty cool. So Godspeed to you, Senator Ragan, and I appreciate being able to work with you. Thank you.
Chair recognizes the senator from Marshall, Senator Edler.
Thank you, Mr. President. I stand in support of Senate Resolution 121. You know, Senator Ragan had a lot of mornings when we show up, and you're already here, and Senator Mathis, and we'd have talks about human resources. And somehow, many of our committees overlap because we had Ag, Veterans, HR, and the HHS budget. And you know, it's really been a pleasure to work with you on all of those. And I would say ditto to Senator Costello because he summed it up pretty well, but I just want you to know that it's been a very pleasant, and your wealth of knowledge, it's just excellent. So I wish you the best going forward, and colleagues, please support Senate Resolution 121.
Chair recognizes the senator from Scott, Senator Lykam.
Thank you, Mr. President. I, too, rise in support of Senator Ragan. You know, Amanda, I'm really going to miss our early morning conversations here. You are truly a doer, and you read way beyond the politics of really anybody I've ever seen in either chamber. And I wish you and your family all the best in your future endeavors, but you will be missed.
Chair recognizes the senator from Polk, Senator Petersen.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senator Ragan and I met shortly after I was elected in the Iowa House. She called me to ask for some campaign advice. She was running in a special election. Amanda and I both have page history in this building. She is a Senate page. I was in the bill room. And she also was a clerk before becoming a senator. But her I think, most important role has been as a leader, not only on the HHS committee, but also for our caucus. She is the mentor to everyone. She has sage advice always, and sometimes it's things we don't want to hear, and she has a way of delivering the news in such a way that people can hear it. Amanda's also quite funny and brilliant, and I can't think of a better person to run HHS than Amanda, someone who has lived experiences with times that have not always been so rosy, and you care. And you care about people who don't have two nickels to rub together. And we need people like that at the State House that recognize that this world doesn't come easy for everyone. And being a single parent is one of the hardest jobs in the world. And Amanda, you have done a beautiful job with your family. Amanda also is one of those legislators that works hard to make sure everyone else in the caucus shines, even if it's not her issue. And I remember one year I came to her with deep concerns about the refugee community and asking for money and asking for help. And Amanda, I remember you pulling that note out constantly. We've got to do this. We've got to get this started. The Refugee Rise program that has benefited many of your districts, and something we need to build upon this year. Also, Medicaid expansion. You know, as a kid that grew up in a single parent home, I knew how lucky I was that my mom had health insurance for me and my family, but a lot of Iowans had never had health insurance until Medicaid expansion. And outside of the legislature, I do a lot of work in the maternal health arena, and I can tell you the states that didn't expand Medicaid, they have so many tragic birth outcomes, and it all stems from the fact that people don't have access to health insurance like we do here, thanks to your efforts. Jim, my gosh, we got a 2-for-1 with Jim Ragan. We love you, North Iowa loves you, and you kept Amanda sane through some really tough elections you guys did on her, but tell you what, she knows how to win in rural Iowa. And I'm going to miss you. I'm going to miss your political instincts, and I'm hoping that we'll continue to work together in a different capacity, and that you and Jim have a wonderful retirement. Thank you so much for your leadership.
Chair recognizes the senator from Black Hawk, Senator Dotzler.
Thank you, Mr. President. Ladies and gentlemen of the Senate, I rise in support of Senate Resolution 121. Amanda Ragan is a special and unique person. You know, as you go through life, you meet people that seem to have a wisdom and a knowledge beyond their time or years. You know, I always refer to it as an old soul, that they seem to know things that other people just don't get a grip on right away. And it might take an entire life for you to realize, you know, what's it all about. And Amanda Ragan is one of those people who understands the public, her constituents, the people that she serves, poverty, You can just go down the list. And I think she's found also the secret of why we're here. You know, you ever think about what's the purpose of my life? What's the purpose of our lives? And to me, it's about giving and doing and trying to accomplish something without taking credit for it. Because she certainly has accomplished much, but you never hear her bragging about, I did this, I did that. It's all about doing the right thing for people. And that is something that is a rarity. Also about her ability to stay positive and deal with negative things and issues with gentleness, I guess would be the word I'm searching for. She understands what it's like to be a great legislator and to work with the other side of the aisle and keep them close. I remember one time she had me come up to Mason City to speak to a group, and I believe her House member Sharon Speckman was there, and she invited Speaker Utmeyer too. It could have been just an event for her, but she made sure that whatever discussion we were having about economic development, that Speaker Utmeyer was included. And it turned out to be a positive thing instead of a political thing. That's Amanda Ragan. And that's how she gets stuff done around here. Even when you're in the minority or the majority, you should always work with the other side of the aisle to make sure that they see the same things that you see. And I think it was a great failure of this chamber, not just now, but in earlier years, when we stopped meeting together for our budgets, because Amanda Ragan understands the budget and the ramifications of human services and the human resource community and committee, and how important that is to serving Iowans. And that's what we talked about, constituent work. It's about what we can do for the public we represent. So I guess there's a lot of stories that people can tell about your experiences together, but I wanted to get up and talk about Amanda the person, and she is somebody special. She's a person of knowledge and a heartbeat of her community in the state of Iowa. And it's amazing that when you talk to her about an issue, and it might be political, but she knows where the public is at on all of them. Amanda Ragan, also thank you. We haven't talked about your knowledge about the veterans, and I think that had something to do with Jim, of course, but a person who served on the Veterans Committee before I did, and I'm a veteran, and I thought, before I knew about Jim, I'm going like, how did Amanda Ragan get on the Veterans Committee and running it to understand? And now I know that old soul had experience, maybe centuries of experience in her heart. So Amanda Ragan, thank you for being a friend, and it's been an honor to serve with you and learn from you.
Chair recognizes the senator from Warren, Senator Garrett.
Thank you, Mr. President. Well, Senator Ragan, I haven't been here as long as you have, but in all the years I've been here, you and I have both served on the Human Resources Committee, so I've got to know you pretty well through that experience. And part of the time you were in the majority, part of the time I was in the majority. But the thing that I will always remember most about Amanda Ragan is, no matter what the subject was, no matter whether it was a one-on-one discussion or a more formal discussion of a bill in the Human Resources Committee, you always knew Senator Ragan would present her points in a very thoughtful and courteous manner. And as we all know, that doesn't always happen around here. I think we need more of that myself. Senator Ragan, I wish you the best in the future. It's been a pleasure serving with you.
Chair recognizes the senator from Lynn, Senator Hogg.
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to start with an observation that I think Jim Ragan will appreciate. With the wind today, I wasn't sure I was going to be able to make it here. So that's just for Jim. Obviously, Senator Ragan's had a very successful political career. The Beacon Award from the Wing Ding. I'm not sure it gets any bigger than that, and I want to make sure that gets recognized here on the floor today. Senator Ragan and I have known each other since we clerked together in 1989. I remember the historic visit to Iowa City for the wedding of Dave and Barb Epley. Historic. I got to visit Amanda on the farm before there were cell phones. And if you want to know whether you're coming to the right farm when Amanda Ragan is there, just wait until you see the person running out to the gravel road to make sure you found the right place. We got reacquainted in 2001. I think you were thinking about running for the House, and I was thinking about running for the House. And it's been a really special 20 years. I just want to acknowledge your kids, Edie and Charlie, who are here. Been great to get to know the kids. Not everybody's had the opportunity to have Edie stay at your home for a couple weeks, and that's a very special occasion. And as Senator Ragan noted last week, I'm so frugal that when I'm in North Iowa, if I'm not camping, I'm always looking for a free place to stay. And thank you, Senator Ragan and Jim, for being so gracious. And then, of course, there are the grandkids. Very, very special. So far above average. Just extraordinary grandkids. And the grand dog. Yeah, can't forget the grand dog. It's been a great 20 years together, and knowing you much longer than that, Senator Ragan, best of luck to you in all of your many future endeavors. Thank you.
Chair recognizes the senator from Story, Senator Quirmbach.
Well, thank you, Mr. President. I rise in support of SR 121. Amanda Ragan was here when I joined the Senate in 2003, and her seatmate next to her, Senator Bolkcom, was here when I joined the Senate. You're the two last ones who were there to welcome us, to welcome Senator Dotzler and myself when we joined the Senate. And your departure is going to leave a great hole in my heart. Senator Ragan has worked as a civilian in the private sector, doing good works. She has worked in the Senate, doing good works. Many more than I could list or really even remember. The one that, of course, stands out is her work in expanding Medicaid. Between the two, between her civilian work and her work here, there are people who have eaten who otherwise would have gone hungry. There are people who are healed who otherwise would have continued to suffer. And there are people who are alive who otherwise would not be. I can't think of a more amazing contribution than what you have made.
Chair recognizes the senator from Polk, Senator Bisignano.
Thank you, Mr. President. I lied, Amanda. I said I wasn't going to speak. But I can't stay here and listen to this, talking about all these things about you, describing you in one word. I'd say sarcasm. Anybody that truly knows this woman, she is the queen of one-liners. And she can cut through the quick of something so quickly and change the way you look at it by laughing. And that's what I think you bring to this caucus. I mean, you're a genius, and we all know what you did. You've known me since I was a baby almost, and I'm older than you. That tells you how long you've been around here. But yeah, I had big hair and big glasses, and yeah, and I did a lot of other things. But anyway, I want to say that you truly meant to me more than you'll ever know. I could never live up to your expectations because of my predecessor. And I always tried to strive to be a little closer than Jack was to you, and it never worked. So, you know, to get even, I've spent a lot of time campaigning for you in Mason City and never told you. I just went up there and knocked doors. Who believes that? But anyway, I want to say, you're the one piece of furniture that I'm going to miss because you've been around forever with me. I left and came back, and you're still here. It's like you can't shake this woman. But I tell you, there's nobody like you. There won't be another like you. Life's changing here in politics, as we've all seen. We need more sense of humor between ourselves. Sarcasm is your suit. And stick with it, because I've never laughed harder than the way you put it all into just one sentence. So with that, your family deserves you back. We've had her long enough here. Sooner or later, I'm going to be in this chamber, I think, without an Amanda Ragan, but I'll always think of you, always look to that back row that you need to be here. One day, really, this is serious, I was up extremely early. And I thought I'd come in at 7 o'clock. I thought, hell, who's going to be there? Who do you think's here? She never left, I don't think. I truly don't. She sat in the same place looking at the same screen, typing on the same keyboard when I left, like at 6:30, 7 o'clock the night before. So you're a special person to this chamber. Both chambers. You've been in both. And I wish you the best, and I wish your family the best. You know, I knew you for 15 years. I didn't even know Charlie was your son. You didn't want to take credit, and he didn't want to take blame. Neither one of you has ever admitted that you were actually a mother and a son. But, you know, he's a chip off the block. He fights for what's right, and so do you. And you will stay in the hearts of this Senate for a long time after you leave.
Chair recognizes the senator from Woodbury, Senator Carlin.
Thank you, Mr. President. I stand in support of this resolution. Senator Ragan, what I so appreciate about you is the vitriol that's so much a part of the partisanship has never been part of your presentation. I mean, I've heard the sarcasm and I laughed at the sarcasm, but the vitriol was never part of that. And there's always been a genuineness to your voice for the voiceless. How those people are defined, we're going to disagree on. But you stood up for people who needed a voice, and you did it in an authentic way with your head and with your heart, and I really appreciate that. I've served with you in the Veterans Affairs Committee and Human Resources, and there was always like this motherly concern that kind of defined a lot of the things I saw you advocate for and do, and I really appreciate that about you. And the fact that you have undertaken to run a soup kitchen speaks volumes about the kind of person you are and the way you serve Iowa and the way you serve those who, through no fault of their own, can't help themselves. So thank you for taking up that charge and serving those people. I wish you well in all of your future endeavors, and look forward to seeing what's ahead for you. Thank you, Mr. President.
Chair recognizes the senator from Johnson, Senator Wahls.
Well, Mr. President, I apologize for rising a second time, but there was actually someone really important who I forgot to thank earlier, and as the senator from Coralville, your whole career in the Iowa Senate, actually, there's a Coralvillian we really need to thank. Now, I have no idea where in the world Dick Myers is right now, but I want to thank him, and he knows what he did. Thank you, Mr. President.
Seeing no further senators seeking the floor, the chair recognizes the senator from Johnson, Senator Bolkcom, for final remarks on Senate Resolution 121.
Well, thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, thank you for all the kind comments. My baby pig just fell off my mic. Thank you for all the kind comments regarding our dear friend and colleague, Senator Ragan. Senator Ragan, you've done your job and done it well. You will be remembered as a good listener, a great friend, a champion, a resilient doer, and someone that does not use over-the-top rhetoric. Work on that. You are ready for something new. You're ready for the next chapter of your life with your family, with Jim, your grandkids. Thank you for all your hard work and sacrifice. I've been sitting by you for so long. I know what it's taken to do what you've done. You're going to be missed by all of us. All the best to you and the family, and Godspeed. We love you.
The senator from Johnson moves the adoption of Senate Resolution 121. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. The resolution is adopted. Congratulations. The chair recognizes the senator from Cerro Gordo, Senator Ragan.
Thank you, Mr. President. I almost ran for re-election, so I didn't have to do this. So, first of all. And I'm really glad that my kids and my husband got to hear all these wonderful things that you said about me, and I'm sure they're soaking that up. And they'd like to make their own comments, I'm sure. I want to thank everybody who made special note. I thought, Senator Dotzler, you were going to talk about how you discover when you're on a committee, you look at your stationery, as opposed to disagreeing that you couldn't bid on humans. But Senator Quirmbach enjoyed humans. But anyway, I wanted to also thank all the people who were leaders in our caucus, from Senator Gronstal, Senator Petersen, Senator Hogg, Senator Wahls. They've done great things and worked tirelessly to do great things for our caucus. So I wanted to make sure that I made note of them. I know that Senator Bisignano wanted to say Jack Hatch's name is why he got up. So he had an ulterior motive. Anyway, so that said, I really think you all should know you touched my heart by all the things you said. And I try not to be an emotional person. Senator Mathis gave me a little clue to get through this. So anyway, it's often been said that the journey of 1,000 miles starts with one step. As I stand here today, I truly appreciate the arch of my journey. I have always had a love of politics and public policy, and this interest emerged particularly early in my life. I wore a John F. Kennedy for President pin to kindergarten in 1960. That was not normal, but Senator Edler, those who desire to can calculate my age from there. I've been fortunate to serve in this beautiful building as a page, a House clerk, and now a state senator, all steps along my way. They were each a part of living our democracy and great experience that I've been privileged to have. We each bring life experiences to our work in the Senate. I grew up on a small farm near Rockwell and appreciate the values of rural Iowa. But I also have the background of a single mom working a minimum wage job who went back to school to finish my degree. The value of education is so very important to me because it is a part of you that no one can take away from you. I have many people to thank for their help to me in these past 20 years, especially the people who work mostly behind the scenes, in the journal room, the Secretary of the Senate's office, our wonderful doorkeepers, and the pages. You are the people we depend upon to keep the trains running on time in every sense of the words. To our legislative and fiscal service bureaus, whose jobs to take dreams and ideas and make them legislation with well-developed budgets. Thank you so much for making us look good. And I cherish my clerks who have supported me these many years. And thank you to Bob Christensen, who came out of retirement to serve with me. And it is a point of pride for me that so many of my clerks have become accomplished and engaged in their own successful careers, including my own son, who serves as the president of the Iowa Federation of Labor. I also want to recognize both caucus staffs, but in particular, Debbie Kattenhorn, Eric Baker, and Ron Parker and his dream team of Chris Bell, Bridget Goddess, Sue Fecky, Carrie Scott, Rusty Martin, Erica Skorky, Julie Simon, Zach Engstrom, Jace Michaels, and Kathy Engel. There are not enough thank yous to be given for your support. You are the incredibly bright, hardworking people who seem able to solve every single problem and craft messages that clearly communicate with the voters who sent all of us to Des Moines. And to the lobby and my fellow legislators, I've enjoyed the honest discussions that have brought forth good results for the state, especially those who gave me the special support, advice, and friendship. In particular, Senator Jochum, who's always shown strength of character, Senator Mathis for being the continuous purveyor of positivity, Senator Petersen for staying grounded while persevering, and Senator Bolkcom, who was always there when I needed, and this is true, common sense, thoughtful friend in the last 20 years. I truly appreciate the people I represent who believed in me and entrusted me with their futures. You are the people outside of this building we serve every day, the constituencies who really matter. I will never forget the folks I met at the dinners, the events, and at their homes. Your trust, your friendship, your fellowship, and support have made my everyday a worthwhile commitment. I'm indebted to my family and my friends who took this journey with me one step at a time. My children and their spouses, Edie and Joe Blanchard and Kate and Charlie Wishman, and my grandchildren, Isaac, Ivy, Amanda, and William, who grew up marching in parades and being part of so many other events. Thank you for being the rocks I could always rely on. I also have boundless gratitude to my husband, Jim, who helped me in every imaginable way. We shared the door-knocking effort. Share would be good. That's good. Forums, participating in parades, church dinners, and town celebrations of all types, and the countless joys of campaign life. Thank goodness his military background had prepared him for what at times might appear to be a forced march, but he was always clear-eyed on our objectives. And I appreciate Senator Gronstal for answering the phone and not hanging up, and for letting me chair Human Services and then the HHS budget. I'm thankful because he believed in me, because I learned so very much from the experience. I will especially remember fondly the times when I was a part of Team Humans. I was privileged to join with Senator Tinsman and Representatives Faggy and Heaton as we traveled many steps together to solve the problems in our state. And I miss the joy of those bipartisan efforts. I'm extremely proud of the many things we did in healthcare over the years for our fellow Iowans. One of our proudest moments was the passage of the bipartisan bill expanding healthcare to 150,000 Iowans, which now covers 230,000 Iowans. We should all remember, progress was made with a Republican governor, a Republican House, and a Democrat Senate. May we never forget how we can do things for people, especially when we work together. Yes, I know mine has been quite a journey of many steps, some forward, some backward, and some even sideways. And I want to leave you with what I consider the most important lesson I've learned as a member of this august body. It is simply this: the legislation we pass is about more than getting words in the code, or even expanding health care or funding programs to benefit child care or education or public safety, or of a host of things we contend with every day. A very wise civil servant once shared with me he believed the mission of all government is about changing people's lives, because that is what legislation really does. It is about more than getting from point A to point B. It is about raising people up to have opportunities they might never have had. Our job should be to improve the lives of those we serve, and that is how we can live true to our oath of office. As President John F. Kennedy so rightly said, the state is the servant of the citizen, not its master. So soon my journey to this wonderful capital will be done. But I do hope there will be more steps in my future where I can be of service to others. May we inspire those who come after us to care for their neighbors. Lastly, I am most thankful to the voters of North Iowa who bestowed this marvelous opportunity on me. It has been my honor to serve them, and I have always worked to do them proud. Thank you for your kind attention, and may God bless our nation, our state, and our service to both.